We're starting a new vlog on the ship, which I thought we'd be starting the vlog at the port because we've just been trying to kill some time, but we've been given a free lunch and free coffees and free teas, which we weren't told about this morning. I've got doner meat, I've got some salad, I've got a dumpling of some sort, some sausage meat, some kohlrabi and some vegetables, lettuce, salad, that's the word, and I'm currently having a large beaker of orange juice. So that's very good of the shipping company to provide that for us, and quite a nice little spread for lunch. Doner meat for dinner. Look, you've got a big stack of food again, Sandra. What have you got there?
Mostly salad.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Real salad.
Apple juice.
And apple juice.
Okay. So we will continue this vlog on and be explaining all about our trip here and how we booked it and things like that. But we're just starting the vlog from the table by the window, having our lunch. Right. So we're back at the car park, so I think about 6 hour delay in all. UK time it's 2:30 CET, 3:30. We're time travellers. 4 or 5 hour journey back home, and we will continue this vlog maybe tomorrow when we'll just sit down and we'll probably do a bit of a dialogue it all, but home safely.
Yeah.
Well, not home safely, sorry, we've still got a long way to go yet.
Good to be on firm land. I mean, to be fair, I thought the crossing would be worse than it was. A few people were poorly, but we were fine. I quite enjoyed it, but anyway, we're back safe. So
right.
It's all good.
So, motorway, rush hour traffic, let's go.
Tyne Tunnel.
It's a toll tunnel, so if you're making this journey, make sure you pay by midnight of the following day. So we've prepaid.
So there is an app, so you can go on the app and put on some credits so that when you go through it, it'll log your registration and then you're automatically paid, but make sure you do pay. Tunnel, it kind of goes on and on.
That's been a fairly straight drive. I didn't realise there's a KFC. Sorry, where we are, we're about 50 minutes from home, and because everything what's gone on, we're going to grab a Maccadees, just put some food in the belly, and even I need a loo stop, which is not like me. Do you need a loo stop, Sandra?
I'm alright at the moment.
Don't believe you. Right, come on, let's get some food. The food we've had in the last few days, it reminds me why McDonald's is absolutely shite. That was just a case of...
It was functional.
It
wasn't badly cooked, it was just a bit boring.
It's just, I don't know what people see in McDonald's. That was a needs must. It was more for a wee stop than anything. Right, let's go on the final leg home. Venus is up and Mars is up as well. We've been following them up as the sun sets around us. We're home. Have you missed us? How are you? What have you been doing? Rasha, hello. Welcome home. Hello, Rasha. Hi. He's been a good girl. Have you missed us? Hello. Who's been a good girl? Right, so as you'll have seen, we got home. What you can't see is right down below us here is a little dog. Here's Rasha. She's on Sandra's knee at the moment.
She's missed us.
Yeah. So we arrived home safely. from our city break to Amsterdam. And what we wanted to do in the next few minutes is just basically have a bit of a talk about why we went to Amsterdam, why we sailed from Newcastle and not Hull.
Indeed, I've asked that more than once.
Yeah, so there's a whole array of sort of questions that have come our way, and some things that we thought may be of interest to you if you wanted to replicate that trip. So, if you hear any groaning noises, you see any little fluffy bits popping up, and then you can see there's Rasha there. She's on camera. The company we went with was DFCS, which is
DFDS.
DFDS, sorry. I keep thinking of furniture sales, don't I? DFDS.
Confuse people. DFDS.
Yeah, and I've been to Amsterdam on a ferry previously before knowing Sandra. I've done the Hull to over the water, and then I've actually driven into Amsterdam in the past. But we did the Newcastle crossing a few years ago. We actually saw OMD perform live on the boat, and we had a wonderful time. And
Tiny Magnetic Pets.
And Tiny Magnetic Pets, yeah. And it was more than just a ferry crossing. It was a mini, well, they call it a mini cruise. And as you will see, me and Sandra, we like to do things differently. So the amount of money that we actually spent on the cruise, the hotel and food, we could have probably got a week in Benidorm. But that's not really our break sort of thing. We like to do things a little bit differently and go and visit places and find out a little bit more about culture. We're not beach bums, although never say never. We may do that sort of going forward, but even when we've had holidays, you know, we like to explore the areas, don't we?
Obviously, for many years we had all the kids with us and dogs, so for many years we were just camping or caravanning or, you know, UK based holidays.
Yeah, so one of the other questions that somebody put onto my Facebook, and I think they were going to report me. I think they thought we'd left Russia home alone. Hello, Russia. No, we didn't leave Russia home alone. Lee stayed at home and Lee dog sat, so Russia was in safe, capable hands, and we were in communication with Lee. Go, Russia, where are you going? Throughout our stay, just to make sure Russia was okay, because we know she's an old lady and things like that. So we wanted to go and have a city break. We've not had anything like that for several years. And you can do these ferry crossings. So on our videos, I think one of the last ones, we met a couple who had done the ferry for the very first time, and it was a day trip. So you can go and get the overnight ferry. Then you can get the coach transfer into Amsterdam, and I think you get about 5 hours in the dam itself, and then you're back on the ferry and then come home. So if you literally wanted to do it over a weekend, you can do that. And if you
just because in case it's not clear, so you get a cabin, so it's like a nighttime crossing, so you get a cabin for the night, you can get meals at night, get breakfast, everything's entertainment. Yeah, so it's not just a ferry crossing.
No, it's a mini cruise. Obviously, you can take cars, and obviously there's lorries and everything like that. So it is a commercial route that we took. So we're just going to try and cover a number of scenarios. So if you are going to go, obviously make sure you plan. A couple of things to take into consideration is if you go to Newcastle, depending on your route, there is a ULEZ charge if you get caught in the city centre, so make sure you're aware of that, otherwise you could get fined if you don't pay the ULEZ. And if you want to ULEZ, it's an ultra low emissions zone. It's a tax for vehicles that are older, so make sure that you're aware that there is ULEZ charges in Newcastle city centre. And if you decide to go through the tunnel under the Thames, so there's a big long tunnel, I think you video something, I think on the beginning of this video we've got a little bit of it. There is also a toll you have to pay, so don't get caught out going through that, because that has to be paid by midnight the day after you pass through the tunnel. But you loaded up an app and loaded.
But as I say, if you know that you're going to do this sort of journey, there's a time tunnel to app, and you can just download the app. You can put on a prepayment amount, so just put on a small amount that'd be enough to cover the toll charge. And then once you pass through, it's like number recognition. It docks the money off your account, so there's no risk of getting caught out. But I do know somebody who was in that sort of situation, ended up going through getting this charge, but then ended up somewhere with no internet, so they couldn't pay it by midnight the next day, and then they were getting fined, and you had to like fight the case and everything. So just to be aware.
So that could have easily have happened to us. So obviously we could have just driven through this tunnel, been a bit blasé about it. We'll pay it when we get back. It's a very short window, to be honest, to actually pay that, and but you can prepay it. So if you're going to do this, just look at your routes and plan ahead. At the port, I'm going to refer to it being Amsterdam, and I'm going to refer to it as being Newcastle. It's not technically speaking Newcastle, and it's a port of, I forget the name of the port now. It's about 45 minutes.
Port of Tyne, I think, technically.
Yeah, that's where you're sailing from, but the port that you come into isn't actually in Amsterdam. We'll come to that in a moment, but I'm going to refer it to Newcastle and Amsterdam. So do look at that route and plan your journey. The one nice thing about where the ferry terminal is there is car parking. So if you do go by car, you can park your car, literally, it's not even a 5-minute walk, and you're in the ferry terminal. Be mindful that you do have to pay, and we paid on the visit we just did, it was £12 a day. And then when you come home, you pay your ticket inside the ferry terminal, not on the car park or anything like that. I had a problem with my ticket. We had somebody in front of me who had a problem with tickets getting out of the car park. So there is car parking. It's £12 a day, which is cheaper than airport parking. And to be truthful, in a city like Manchester, I think it's about £8.50 an hour to park a car. You know, so I don't think £12 is.
I thought it was reasonable. Yeah, no, so there are cheaper alternatives, but then you're further away from the terminal. You've got your cases with you, so yeah. Yeah,
and DFDS do offer a shuttle bus from the terminal into Newcastle. So there are local bus routes and things like that. So that's before you start your journey. You'll have seen that we just had a basic bunk bed cabin. So as far as we go, when we stay in places, as long as the place is clean, which the cabins were exceptionally clean, the bunk cabin we had was more than adequate for us. But if you wanted to go for an upgrade, there are upgrades available with double beds and windows and things like that. So you can upgrade the your cabin.
And just to add, if there are 2 of you or more going, obviously be aware that somebody has to be okay with being in the top bunk.
Yeah.
So you can fight over that one amongst yourselves.
so when I was little and we ever stayed at somebody's house with bunk beds, I always wanted to go on top bunk, but I don't like heights anymore, so Sandra went on top bunk. But the beds were comfortable. The cabin was adequate. There was storage space under the beds. You probably didn't notice, I don't think we showed, for our suitcases, so they weren't in the way. There's a little bench seat to sit on, and there's obviously a fantastic shower and flushing toilets in the cabin as well. The showers were really good, and it comes with bedding, and they also provide towels as well and loo paper.
And not least, a ladder so you can get into your top bunk.
Yep. So So there, again, if you paid any attention to our videos, you'll have seen there's a ladder that's on a wall and you can get up. And then I think
they have it. You can have put aside so there's more room in the cabin, or if you're not using the top bunk. But when we first arrived, I was like, "How do I get in the top bunk?" Then I spotted the ladder.
Yep. And then on each of the cabins there is, I call it a night light. That's you've got on above the cabin, and a USB charger. And then just be mindful, if you're going to be wanting to charge up anything, it's a European plug, so you will need plug adapters. Again, if you look at our videos and pay any attention, we actually had a little extension cube, and we were able to charge up our devices with USB sockets on it and things like that. So you will need Euro plugs. If you forget your Euro plugs, there is a duty-free shop on board where they do sell things like that, but obviously you'll pay a lot more for accessories and things. So I mentioned that we did the Newcastle to Hull, which is slightly longer.
No, we did Newcastle to Amsterdam.
Newcastle
instead of Hull to Rotterdam.
I'm still on boat time. I'll come to boat time in a minute. It's ship time.
Ship time, yeah.
Because, as I say, it's classed as a mini cruise. You have options if you want to eat on the boat or not eat on the boat. So we paid extra for meals in the evenings and for breakfast. And the evening meal, the buffet, I can't ever say how good that food was.
Yes, I don't think Neil mentioned, but no, you did. The OMD mini cruise that we did before, we didn't stop in Amsterdam, but we did have the meals, and they were excellent. So it's like very much part of the holiday experience for us, wasn't it? Really enjoyed that. Yeah, excellent food.
On the way back, we got chatting to a seasoned couple who've done cruises around the world, and they told what did they say?
They said, well, it's better than any other cruise food that they've had. Yeah.
And they've been on cruises all around the world. The staff were just so
really lovely,
incredibly helpful and friendly. Nothing too much. We had a problem with our cabin door coming home. It's like, oh God, it won't open, and
sticky.
They came, and basically you just need to force down the handle, but they weren't rude about it. They were so incredibly nice and polite, and if you saw you struggling with your cases and things like that, the staff, fantastic. You will be best to prepay for your meals at the time of booking your tickets. You can pay on the day, but you'll pay more. So by prepaying, you're going to make a bit of a saving, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. But so it's just, we knew that we'd need the meals anyway, so just put it all as part of the package. Yeah, so because we didn't stop over previously, I did book it as an actual city break package this time. So including the meals, the boat, the transfers you book before you travel. Yeah, and then do you want to say anything else before we get onto the hotel bit?
Yeah, so because we turned this into a mini city break, so we had a couple of nights staying, as well as a couple of nights on the mini cruise. We had a couple of nights in a hotel, and you can then you pay for the coach transfers from the port where the ferry is into Amsterdam. It's about 45 minutes on a coach. So we pay for the transfers into the coach station, train station in the centre of Amsterdam. So we had to book that 2 days before we departed, didn't we?
Yeah, I'm assuming that's just in case there's any changes to the crossing or the planning. But anyway, yeah. So we got that booked before we set off. I think again it was quite reasonable. So for both sets of transfers, for both of us, it was about £30.
Yeah.
So pretty reasonable. Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to go into prices of what we pay for the cruise and the food, because if you watch this, it could be 2 or 3 years since you watched it, and prices are going to. But we'll just throw in some prices.
Yeah, and obviously with our situation at the moment, we are on a bit of a budget. So, I mean, you can pay as much as you want to pay, but there are a couple of options that are really good value with the hotel. So I just picked one of them.
Yep. So the other thing with the ferry company, they do have an app you can download and put your details in. The app was a bit quirky. There was sort of meant to be live links to Twitter, and the Twitter hadn't. The X, formerly known as Twitter, hadn't tweeted for a number of years. which was a bit silly.
Yeah, I don't think they're a little bit glitchy. So they were still giving live updates for the Dover crossings, but not for the Newcastle crossing.
No.
I'm not sure why.
So we'll come to our return journey.
We literally
in a minute.
had to weather watch, basically, didn't we?
Yeah. But the app's really useful. So you have got your tickets on there. But we, anytime we travel, even if we just go to a bed and breakfast, we're still old school. We print out everything, and we both had paper copies. So if Sandra lost her bag or whatever, I had copies as well.
So just the way they do it, there's no physical ticket as such. It's just you just print off the email confirmation, and that is your travel document, really.
Yeah. So that one ticket, I've not got my phone with me. That one little ticket, it's got everything on there from your coach transfers to your meal tickets and
room access.
Room access. The whole lot is all built into your ticket. So before we come to the hotel and staying in Amsterdam, we'll just carry on the boat. What happens? So obviously you're given an arrival time when check-ins happen. You go, you check in. You're given a boarding card. You're given your allocated cabin number. You board the ferry, and then
I forgot to mention. I think with any travel these days, you do need to provide your passport details at least a day before you travel as well with the booking.
Yeah, I think that's pretty well with everything. Yeah. Obviously, you need a passport as well. That's in date. Mm-hmm. So once you're on board, straight away the bars are open. So literally, you can go to the bars. There is a coffee shop on there, a Starbucks if you want a coffee, and then there is a duty-free shop. Like most duty-free shops, that duty-free shop was not what I would call the old-fashioned duty-free. It was terribly expensive, but you've got all your essentials for sale there, from gifts, souvenirs to adapters to
a lot of designer wear brands for people that like that sort of thing.
And perfumes, aftershaves, alcohol, spirits. So there is a fully stocked shop there as well. Then to spend your time away, there again our videos showed there's a coffee area, a coffee bar with a children's creche area. Then next to that there is it's more like an open bar, where the times we've been on this now there tends to be a singer on there for a couple of hours. He finished at 10 o'clock. And you've got seats by the windows and things like this. Also on the ferry, obviously subject to the weather conditions, you're able to walk on the deck, go and look. It's quite nice to go on the deck as the ferry was departing the dock, and on our departure it was a beautiful evening, wasn't it? A real beautiful. You'll have seen the video of that. So I mean,
I enjoy that. So I like seeing us setting off and just looking out on the water, and yeah, I like all that.
No, so you can do that. You can go and get a beer, you can get a drink. There is an a la carte restaurant down there as well. That used to be where they had the buffet restaurant. I don't know what's changed there, but I'm guessing they've moved the restaurants about since we were last on.
Go on.
You were deep in thought.
Well. Yeah, my memory is terrible these days, but I got the impression. I don't remember the breakfast being the same place as the buffet place.
Yeah, no. The buffet place is where the a la carte restaurant was, and the breakfast in a separate room was where we had both meals in the same room this time. So yeah, that was just a difference to last time we did this. So once you're on board, you can go and get a drink. So at the time we're recording this, it's end of November 2024, and it was €5.50 for a pint of Heineken. So it was quite comparable to a UK price. It's £5 for a pint nowadays in most places. So it wasn't overly expensive.
It's not bad, yeah. And we were going to just mention, we didn't do, but there is other entertainment. So there's a small games area. There's a cinema on board if you want to watch a film.
So I was going to come up to the next deck. So this was all on deck 7. Right. And there's obviously toilets on all dotted around the boat as well. Then if you go up another deck to deck 8, there is, Sandra was just saying then, there is a cinema. I do believe there's 2 screens, and so they do a cinema package where you can get a box of popcorn and drinks and everything like that. I think it's £15, I think I saw. We didn't do this, but there was a cinema package. Again, if you go back, so this video is now on a new playlist I've created called Amsterdam. So you can go back and have a look at, on there, and we did video what was on at the cinema. Then there is also on that deck there is a driver's lounge. So for the lorry drivers, commercial drivers, they've got their own space. Then there's a bit of a small arcade area, and then there is an over 18s slots machines as well, if you want to play the slots.
There's a couple of massage chairs, and I noticed we obviously just passing by, but there's even a conference room you can book if you wanted to. Yeah,
and then you then go into what I would call the nightclub sort of bar, which is open or serves drink till 1 in the morning. We sailed out on a Sunday and we came back on a Wednesday. And it was out of season, so it was fairly quiet. But in the nightclub bar, they do have live bands on. So again, you'll see on our videos we went to go and watch one of the live bands, and they also have a disco. So if you want to dance or whatever, there's a full nightclub feel to the place, isn't there?
And bingo.
And bingo, yeah, there was bingo. And if you're a smoker, from that floor as well, there are doors that take you out onto the deck. So if you want to smoke or vape, obviously you're able to do that as well. And it's just a really informal atmosphere. The bar staff are great.
It's just a nice vibe with the other passengers as well.
And then on board they will take cash or card. So we paid, well, I'll mention about card and cash in a minute. Firstly, everything on card, but on the way back, because we had euros, we paid for the drinks in euros. But I do believe they actually take pounds as well, so you can play in UK money as well as euros. So if you are carrying cash, you'll do that. So the whole ferry experience, going out and coming in, it's brilliant. Even getting up and sort of catching the sun as it's just risen up in the morning, and and going on the deck. You'll see we went on the deck once in a storm, and it's pitch black and you can't see, and the ferry's just chugging along, and it's quite magical.
Yeah, also there's it's a shipping lane, so you're passing other ships sometimes, and maybe, what do you call it?
Rigs.
Gas rigs and things like that.
There's various
quite a lot
rigs
going on, yeah.
And allegedly you can see porpoises and dolphins and orcas and things like that. And yeah, if you're into the wildlife, you just want to watch the sea go by. And then again on the videos there is, what's it called? Not the air deck, the star deck. There is a top deck that in warmer weather there is a big open deck with a bar and things like that. Obviously we're in the depths of it being rather chilly and cold, so that wasn't actually open on the trips that we've done. But it's just formal and relaxed, and then what will also happen in your cabin in the mornings is there are speakers in the rooms, and you do get tannoy announcements saying that we're about to some times and information, isn't there? So the ferry going out and the ferry coming in, it's the same. It's the same lineup about boarding and on board the ferry. So we did cover quite a lot of that. But coming on to what we did was we wanted to make this into a city break. So I'll let Sandra explain about the hotel we booked, and because Sandra actually chose it, and why you chose it, or how you chose it.
Yeah, so if you go onto the DFDS website and then pick the city break, and then it just takes you through all the steps to make the booking, and then it gives you quite a few different hotel options and how many extra nights you want to stay. So you just choose. So I chose 2 extra nights, and it came up with a few different options. So the one that I picked, it's not right in the city centre, but you've got very easy access via the tram, or buses anyway, but certainly really regular trams to and from the city centre to where we stayed. It was fairly near things like the Van Gogh Museum and things like that, which I've been to before. Neil wasn't that keen, but anyway, it was an option. But what I didn't know at the time of the booking was that it's a really, really nice area with lots of local bars and just a really nice atmosphere, wasn't it? So, and there was a really big park quite nearby as well. Although it wasn't the best weather for going to parks, but yeah. So it was a little bit out from the traditional tourist part and the centre of the old Amsterdam. But I think we both really enjoyed it, didn't we?
So the hotel was amazing. The staff, obviously, we arrived noon, something like that. We weren't too sure. So some hotels, you know, I'd check in till 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock. So we were super early, and there was no problem with that. No, I said, you know, if the room's not ready, can we leave our bags? And no, sir, your room's ready and everything like that. And you'll seen the room. It was super room.
Really lovely room, really clean, really comfortable. It was a little bit quirky, but in a nice way, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again,
good base.
Yep. So we're not the usual, you know, stay at the Hotel Ibis or the travel lodge sort of people. We try to go to things a little bit different, and yeah, the hotel worked really well. Again, the room had a really good shower, toilet, and amazing. Now, this was quite unusual. We had a request that if we didn't want the room to be cleaned, they wouldn't clean the room. So some hotels, you sort of, from 11 o'clock until 4 o'clock, you could have a chambermaid coming in and changing your bedding, and we said, well, we don't need anything.
Too nice.
Yeah. So that was really good, actually.
Proper coffee pod coffee as well.
Coffee pot coffee.
Yeah, that.
Yeah. Yeah, and so the room
and a little fridge.
Yeah, there was a fridge. There was a safe on there. Obviously, television and wardrobes, seating area, and a desk. I took my laptop with me, and so I was doing editing and things like that. The Wi-Fi was free, and it was incredibly fast Wi-Fi. So I was uploading my video, so I've got everything backed up in Amsterdam. And again, obviously, make sure you've got your Euro plugs and adapters with you. Then it was a new one for us to explore Amsterdam on public transport. We didn't know what we were doing. Again, you'll have seen the videos. So we arrived. We knew we had to get a tram, and it was quite logical once you worked it out.
So the bus transfer dropped us quite close to the main Amsterdam Central Station, and then there's a touristy bureau where you can just buy your tram passes. So you can buy like a 1-day pass or a 3-day pass. So we bought the 3-day pass.
So on the passes you can buy a tram pass, a bus pass, or a boat pass, because there's ferries across the river. Or you can buy a pass which has got everything on it. So we opted, because we didn't really know what we were doing, we just opted for a travel pass that included everything. You remember how much that was? Was it £9 a day? Was it £7.50?
I can't remember now.
I can't remember, but basically, you hop on, hop off passes. Hello, Russia.
But at least we weren't restricted. Like we knew we could just go wherever we wanted to go.
Yeah. So we
did that.
A bit of a top tip if you're going to go on the tram system is when you're in the train station. There's a map, and it says photograph the map, because there wasn't any little handouts showing you where the tram lines are, and there's loads of tram lines going everywhere.
Yeah, so I'm sure you get more familiar with that. Again, it's going out of focus. There's an app which I did download, and you can put in where you started from, where you want to get to, and it'll tell you the best route to get there, which did work. But somebody was like, I don't know what I'm doing, and like I'm trying to sort it out, and then somebody's been a little bit impatient.
Not me.
So it doesn't work. It's like, but it was just getting used to how it did. But it did work. It's just getting used to it. Yeah. And then one of the trams we got on, which completely threw you, was